Right, back live tonight here in Focus. EFF leader Julius Malema, along with 5 other party members, have been found guilty of gross disorderly conduct by the National Assembly's Powers and Privileges Committee. This after they disrupted President Cyril Ramaphosa's State of the Nation address in February. EFF Deputy President Floyd Shivambu, Vuyani Pambo, Mbuyiseni Ndlozi and Sinawo Tambo are the other members found to be in contempt of Parliament. The committee says the conduct of MPs was detrimental to the dignity and decorum and orderly procedure of the House. They were demanding that Ramaphosa step down over the theft of foreign currency from his Palapala farm in early 2020. Party spokesperson Sinawo Tambo, also one of the members who were facing this disciplinary process, joins us now for more on that. Now, good to have you, and thank you very much for your time. You know the rules of Parliament better than I do, but you know that the committee would have sat anyway and continued with this hearing, having given you notice of this hearing in time, and you not showing up.
Look, it was irresponsible, first and foremost. So giving us notice of the meeting in time is a very lazy way of looking at it. First and foremost, the incident was 10 months ago. Parliament has decided to initiate the hearings 10 months later, and they gave us the notices 10 days before the sitting appeal set. So they had 10 months to prepare for this matter, while we as people who had to defend ourselves with our legal team had 10 days to compile a defense for ourselves on a matter that would sit for 3 days and conclude. That's the first objection that we raised in our in the form of the second issue we raised when we requested that the AA constitutes 61% of the membership of the Powers and Privileges Committee, and they are completely palpably biased in the matter because they are first and foremost trying to raise a matter or a case against the members of attacking or political principle. They're now presiding over them as their political opponents. So there is not only a palpable bias, but even a perceived bias in that regard. So there's not going to be a fair process. It's but we remain number one, aligned to one position that there was no threat to Cyril Ramaphosa, and we had even said through our legal representation Monday that we had intended to separate Ramaphosa for himself, whether he felt it was a threat to him. We entered the stage of Parliament with plans, peacefully raising socio-economic conditions confronting South Africa, raising the issues of corruption, especially in relation to Palapala, and that was all. So we're not going to allow ourselves to be binded by a farce of a process that has occurred and reached judgments such as that we must be suspended for 10 days. And the it just happened to be deliberately chosen to be between the 6th and 16th of February. And they even say that Anton Katz even states that we must miss the son of 2024, which is on the 8th of February. So you can see it's an attempt to suppress dissent, it's an attempt to defend Ramaphosa, and we are going to be taking that process to court.
Yeah, Parliament's rules saying that there is no challenge to the rules or even the composition of the committee has been in place for years, and it's not in question, and so those rules would stand unless you would have challenged them somewhere in a court of law.
Look, it's a unique situation. They are claiming that their political principal, who belongs to their political party, the president of the ANC, was threatened. So they are acting at the behest of their own president, political party level. And then the people or persons who supposedly put their political principle under threat happen to be their political opponent. Now, I think the Powers and Privileges Committee would be very hard-pressed to find a scenario of that nature in its existence, or I don't think it has ever been confronted by a scenario of that nature, and therefore the composition of the Powers and Privileges Committee then becomes very critical in an instance where they are confronted by a unique situation, such as one where they are defending their political principle against their political opponent. So there has to be a different approach in that regard, and we made the proposition that there must be the appointment of a retired judge who will be neutral. So not at any instance do you ask for the proceedings to be scrapped or not proceeded with. We just said let there be a postponement so that we also are afforded not even the same amount of time as they had to compile the case, but simply a month to compile our defense, and of course for an independent and neutral person to preside over the matter. And in the first instance of request for postponement, that was dismissed. So you can see there's an ulterior motive, and that ulterior motive was revealed when Anton Katz made the proposals of what sanctions he wanted and for what purpose those sanctions must be prescribed, and that the EFF must miss the final SONA of Cyril Ramaphosa in 2024.
Yeah. So the prosecutor himself, the initiator, are you finding a problem with that? Is it not a process that would have come out of a nominations process of the various parties?
Look, again, the situation confronting the Powers and Privileges Committee is unique. The fact of the matter is that the Powers and Privileges does have a certain to who constitutes it. Fine, but it would have to be rigid with regards to that constitution of that committee when it comes to unique situations that can confront that committee, such as where a majority of the members are bound by the behest of their political principle of the party that deploys them, and they are going to be presiding over a matter of their political opponents. This is a unique scenario that the Powers and Privileges Committee would be hard-pressed to identify in its history. So we must appreciate those prevailing circumstances and act accordingly for the rule of law in terms of the legislation to be applicable and not to be tainted by political opportunism or politically motivated motives.
Yeah. So the guarantee that you would have been given by the chairperson that they are going to conduct this disciplinary hearing in a reasonable, fair manner, you say it would not have held water at all?
Those are employees of the ANC who are led by the president of the ANC, who they are claiming as observers that he was threatened. So they are going to act in a vindictive and political manner. So their guarantees are useless.
And why would you have waited 9 days to bring the substantive application that you are bringing through your legal team?
To apply ourselves with the notices of hearings and the charges that were brought against us. They had 10 months to prepare what they were preparing. We had those 9 days. And within a particular point in time that we were given, we made that assessment. So I don't think we should be judged for the fact that we even were able to put together responses, something that must be commended, and our legal team must be commended for that as well. That we were given just over a week to respond to people who were preparing themselves for 10 months to politically prosecute their opposition. So I don't think there should be a question at this point in time.
So you are intending, I suppose, on joining the other matter that's in the Western Cape High Court, where some of your members are already challenging decisions coming out of that committee. Will you be challenging this particular decision as well?
Absolutely. We are going to go to court and ensure that the kangaroo process of the Powers and Privileges Committee is reviewed and set aside. They may continue with their arrogance and their political vendetta. We are going to take it to the Court of South Africa to arbitrate and make a logical determination that this is a process that was delayed, then subsequently rushed, without any consideration about the adverse consequences it would have on public representatives of South Africa that are elected by the people to hold the executive accountable. So the other matter is one that we're also in a legal process challenging. We're part of that matter as well. And we're going to ensure that the agenda to suppress dissent against Cyril Ramaphosa doesn't succeed, because Parliament of South Africa has no weapon to suppress it. It's a weapon that's accountability. Not of the people, not of individuals, not of a political elite.
Now, unfortunately, that line they're letting us down. Let's leave it there for tonight. Much appreciated. Party spokesperson there, Sinawo Tambo, joining us there for a reaction following that ruling by the Committee on Powers and Privileges.